they'll be calling you a radical. So I'm going to stay on this on the Great Salt Lake. Now, I said this day one, the day Fukushima happened, day after, every day ever since, that the way to the thumbprint, and I've always known this, and the Great Salt Lake is literally right there behind my house. I mean, literally, I grew up on it. I grew up on the Great Salt Lake, and then the great marshes of San Diego, you know, they're all gone now. Dredgem, Tourism County, but the thumbprint of the great Western ecology, the great Western North America ecology is easy. It's just two things: the Great Salt Lake and the tide pools. I knew that, and I've documented them heavily from day one. I said they will tell you everything. I mean, so much water over the Western United States ends right here. You know, right behind my house. I grew up on this incredible wetland that's been drained off by this mega welfare dairy creep, and the state of Utah are derelict criminals. And so we need to talk, I mean, because everybody and everywhere is saving the Great Salt Lake. I've been documenting the Great Salt Lake levels my whole life. So as you know, even before Fukushima, I always used the spiral jetty, you know, and then right here, I've got hundreds of videos out there. As the Great Salt, remember I used to stand up there in Farmington, Utah, up there on that tallest point and do them, looking out over it, watching it. Look, the Great Salt Lake was at absolutely perfect levels in 2011, 2012. It's unarguable. Probably the only video since Robert Smithson shot the video with the helicopter. By the way, I was out there when he did it. When he flew to Brigham City, my grandparents, you know, live right there. And my dad, my grandpa, Abe Hunsaker's my grandfather, you know, who owned all the, you know, the contractor that owned the sand pits, that did all the dirt work. You know, so he called around, and then Bob Phillips, Grant Booz Barker, my dad and my grandpa were out there when they built it. And I've fought against that road. I fought radically against that road. I knew it would ruin it. They turned it into. But anyway, in 2012, that video I got at the exact, that was October 3rd, 2012. Perfect. I mean, those videos are spectacular. You'll never find another one, probably ever now. Maybe, I don't know. So we'll see what happens. But in 2011, I says these are full-blown out nuclear meltdowns. It's going to cause a heat dome over the Western United States. Now, don't confuse the heat dome with the drought. Now, I declared the drought over 3 years ago. Now, you can look it up. The greatest drought, 1,200 years, the Western North American drought. Look up when it started, 2011, which I predicted about. 2011. Now, remember, oh, God, hold on. I got to get this. I cannot forget this. I forgot I threw this in the dryer. Hold on. Hang on. God, I can't believe I forgot that. It's important. Is that it? There it is. Hang on. So, hang on. Sorry about that. I forgot about that. I found it. It's been missing. Now, this is important. You know, not that, but that. This is really historically important. It's right here, northern Utah, right here. By the way, I was working in the Mormon church office buildings in the basement. We were sawing concrete. I worked for Consil. We were redoing it when the floods were happening down State Street. I was there, you know, we sandbagged 83, 84. So I was shoveling snow that winter. It was right before I got cancer. So the flood of 2010, 2011 was epic. So up in the valley, me and Bob, we would always shovel snow. Roofs. I mean, fuck, we had 15 feet of fucking snow on roofs. People's houses were caving in. So that's what we would do in the wintertime here. You know, we shovel roofs. I was shoveling roofs. And I was actually on the monastery because what happened, we were down at the Valley Market and I says, hey, a few monks are left up at the monastery having a nightmare up there with one of the buildings. They're trying to shovel the roofs up there. And I says, let's go, Bob. So we headed up there and 88-year-old monk up there freaking shoveling snow. So we got up there, me and Bob, and it was so deep. And we were on that roof when it caved in. That was the end of the monastery, really. That was the end. I mean, didn't you just love that food that was there in the day? Oh, my God. The place was so cool. So this epic event didn't happen until 2011. Well, just a Fukushima coincidence. Dead tide pulls at your feet. It's all coincidence. Well, I'm a scientist. I'm a real scientist. You know, the greatest PhD opportunity in human history. No one that really took it in a real way, Kevin Blanche. So, by the way, we were staying at the new Junior Jazz. So, going to get me going. By the way, this is real. I bought this in I believe I bought it at the Salt Palace in '89. You know, by the way, they so suck. I mean, what a metaphor. Oh, I hate them. But anyway, not Weaver. I mean, they suck too. But anyway, that's another dissertation. So, I'm the guy that named it. March 2011, standing right there. These are full blown up. They're lying. This is the greatest ecological catastrophe. Now, remember, I was the student professor at Weber State, the #1 school in the country. #1 in the country when I was there. Now, Bill Gates rolled in. Bill Childs bought R.C. Willey's, and they rolled in. And, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates, stole it. Clyde Cooley dropped dead. We were the #1 for 9 consecutive years. #1, beating Wharton, beating Harvard, beating Yale every single year when I was the guy there. Not some opinion via the testing. Private entity. Unbelievable, right? Yeah, well, they got it. The highest exit scores in the history of undergraduate school in the history of the United States to this day was my class. Class of 96, Weber State. My graduating class. So, what a school. That's GE merged with Utah Construction, built the purple, blah, 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 blah. That's who built the reactors at Fukushima, Japan. I was all over this anti-nuclear thing. I knew it was a sham. You know, I grew up here and in San Diego, and so San Onofre was always in the back. As Einstein said, the imagination is so much more powerful and so much more valuable than the educated mind. The imagination, the intuitive mind. My intuitive mind was always glaring San Onofre, I was scared to death of it. I knew it from the time I was, before it was even built. And, without Kevin Blanche, San Onofre never shuts down. But so the Mach 1, Mach 2 water boilers was built by Utah Construction. We put it in Fukushima, Japan. I knew TikTok, Diablo Canyon Clock. I knew they couldn't handle. And by the way, everybody's gone along with this cover up. You got your fucking merit badge. Fucking lowlives. And so I knew that, I did so much work at the Wattis. He was the CEO of GE. That's what it's named after. Unbelievable. I did so much work. Clyde Cooley, Kevin Blanche. Kevin, you keep up your hardcore, radical anti-nuclearism, they are going to go after you. I says, yeah, I know. Fuck them. I don't care. I'm not afraid of them. And then the little plonium to the G. He drops dead right as we get the tank, which I've always thought that was suspicious, his death. Lee. Now they're under investigation. Look it up. They're under investigation by the FBI for selling state secrets to China, which I screamed and yelled and fucking went crazy about that. Look it up. And the guy, Lee's still on the payroll up there, the one that's being investigated. They go from first to worst, kind of like the Jazz. How could the Jazz have the best record in the fucking NBA 3 years? Basketball metaphors matter. Well, what'd they do? Trade Donovan Mitchell? Where's your Donovan Mitchell jersey? You can't make this up. I'm in Europe protesting the IAEA. I fly home in 2017 to New York, and I got my San Onofre shirt on. Remember, this is such a great story. Basketball metaphors matter. And so JFK's just packed. It's fucking crazy. This is in, early September of. I've been in Europe for a couple months. I'm exhausted. That plane flight. Oh, fuck. So, getting there, I'm waiting for my flight to Salt Lake, and there's a young man right there standing right by me. His hoodie on, whatever, and I'm like, go talk to him. Just strike up a, how's it going, blah, blah. Start a conversation. I says, what are you doing headed to Salt Lake from New York? You New Yorker? Yeah. And I says, what you got going in Salt Lake? And he says, I play for the Jazz. I says, oh, you do? I got drafted this year. I'll be a rookie. Really? Who are you? I'm Donovan Mitchell. And I says, Donovan Mitchell, I remember you when you played for the Academy in New York, because I spent all that years in New York and I like basketball. By the way, Frank Layden's from Fort Greene, where I used to live, New York. But anyway, I know really well. I love Frank. Ricky Green, my favorite player of all time, Utah Jazz, fastest of them all. And I lost track of him really at Louisville. Now remember, he was the 13th pick. Wasn't John Stockton the 13th pick? But anyway, wasn't Karl Malone the 13th pick? They were right around there, both of them, 84 and 85. The brilliant Scott Layden and Frank Layden. I watched John Stockton play at Weber State when he played for Gonzaga. Gonzaga used to be in the Big Sky. And they got, Weber State smoked them. And by 20-something points, but John Stockton was outstanding. And so, by the way, we were just talking about, I was at the game in Seattle in 99 when they were headed to the Sweet 16 and the free throw rimmed out. The Waters curse. So anyway, 2011, I knew this. When the shake happened and I saw it was 9, I was in the Energy Solutions dump site protesting the Italian waste Mike Lee was bringing in here. That's where I was at. I have videos of it. I come home. I still had a TV then. I fell asleep. I was really worn out and tired from protests. It's scary protesting those monsters, Energy Solutions rats out there, because we're the toilet here in Utah. We don't use any nuclear energy. We don't make any. We just fund it, let NuScale rip us off for $1 billion, and we store the waste here. I call it the toilet. This is the place. And if you think there's any media here, look at the hot generator coming in from the valley. And they hid that. That was a lot of work for me. I had to fucking use my finance I used my math skills to figure out on how fast that truck was going, where it was at, blah, blah, blah. I had to negotiate with the cops. I had to really politic. And fuck, that's a historic video. When the hot generator's coming into they just hide. And people are just like, downwinders. And then we have Governor Cox, who told me he didn't know what an SMR was. And then he gets in bed with Bill Gates to build this jackalope factory in Cameron, Wyoming. There's no S. After NuScale rips us off $1 billion. How many times I've been in Idaho National Lab proving to you this? They ripped us off $1 billion. We're going to have 24 small SMRs by 2019. We got none. They even says, don't whip a dead horse. So the heat dome. So, before I forget, this is real. A guy sent it to me, 1969. It's real. So is that. I love this one. It's one of my favorites. Should we put it on here? Yeah, we got it. All right? Got it. Got it. Wasn't them the days of the 1970s? Oh boy, back when this state gave a fuck. What happened? It's like that owner of the Jazz. People were all in love with the fucking Jazz, and they have the worst record in the NBA. That product just sucks. Oh, nice. Love it. So, Great Salt Lake, and I'm going to do a lot of work on this. I'll post these videos because I've been documenting the Great Salt Lake long before it even Fukushima happened. I'm out there. Remember the video I got with that beautiful young woman from St. George? I'm out there, and she's like, She's the one that brought it up to me. Look at my neck. We used to call it the Utah smiley face. In Europe, they call it the Chernobyl necklace. She says, well, I know where I got it. Downwinder, you know. So I said it for years. That bootlicker Governor Cox makes me sick. And his twin cousin, John Coltrane Curtis, we need more nuclear. I mean, oh, it's so pathetic. I said it for years. They won't use the word Fukushima. They won't for KSL from Hell Desert. They'll cover it up. They'll cover it up until they can bring it here to the Utah. Well, they're bringing it to southern Utah right here, right now. The Fukushima bagways. I mean, that's been well documented. And it took a Chinese media to send it to me. I reported it, and China reported it. Activists pissed off about Fukushima nuclear fucking fallout, fucking waste coming to southern Utah. I've been all over, but you ignore me. I mean, it's like I'm invisible sometimes. I live on the Great Salt Lake. It's right there. Do not confuse the heat dome with the drought. I declared the drought over 3 years ago. For Blanchard-Damas, Hamlet Cassandra had a baby, and I can see from I predicted all this. That's what a great PhD does. First, you hypothesize knowledge. These are full-blown out meltdowns. It's going to push this fucking source. They covered this. It took me a year and a half to convince anybody it was even one meltdown. You know, so they covered up. And it's been proven and outed that they're kettling me. They're going after me. They classified me. Now, you think about when I'm at the Enola Gay hangar. I'm the guy that orchestrated that, me and Jim Peterson. When Sudoku, folding 1,000 paper cranes, her great niece comes in. Now, think about that. They come to the Enola Gay hangar, flew out of here. Right here, next to the Great Salt Lake. Went over Utah. I did so much work in there. Those videos are so historic. The paintings and everything we did out there. My paintings have hung in there, the only ones ever. And so we orchestrated that. And it was me. Then they reached out to Jim and let's do it. So we had the ceremony on the bomb day, on Warhol's birthday, April 6th. Pop, pop, O-R-P, drop. And we invited everybody. We sent in emails to KSL, Deseret News, KUTV, every news outlet in the PBS, Doug Favizzi, oh, what frauds they are. And we sent it out to Weber State Science Department, their dean, University of Utah, Weber State, BYU, everyone, we sent out emails to everyone. I'm telling them this ceremony was going to happen. It's one of the greatest ceremonies in world history, the olive branch. This is Sudoku folding 1,000 paper cranes. This is an incredible story because I have the paper cranes are right here, the whole box of them. We have a real paper crane. So they came, sharp, beautiful niece, international media from all over the world is there. First thing right off the get, she walks right up to me, hands me this, and hugs me and starts to cry. Says, thank you, Kevin Blanch, for all your incredible work. I was not kettled in Japan. And if you don't believe me, you go ask Kathy Iwani, who helped to shut down Senate. You go ask Rachel Godoya. They were both there in Japan. They fled, come home to San Diego, and then helped us get Senate Offrey, especially Kathy Iwani, helped us get Senate Offrey shut down. It wasn't her and I, it never shuts down. I mean, what an accomplishment, the greatest grassroots accomplishment in activist history. So, I'm the second one that gets to hold the real one. She folded 644. She never got to 1,000. She died. In Japan, they call it the atom bomb disease. I have the atom bomb disease. I have AML de novo, given 2 months to live. The fact that I got it in 2011, my place in time, going to the bone marrow transplant on 11/11/11. The first trip I got out of the bone marrow transplant center and I have my central line, I immediately go out to Antelope Island to the Great Salt Lake and I'm standing out there. Remember those great ones? I mean, showing you, what a video. Holy fuck. I think back of that, wow. With my central line hanging on my jug. And I was only out for a few days and back in. The fact that I get leukemia, going to the bone marrow transplant on 11/11/11, and Fimbo Peterson and Vincent Hansen, who are both love me, they saved my life, and they're both anti-nukers, but Hippolytes, those two doctors saved my life, and those beautiful, incredible nurses in there. They'll tell you, both of them, Kevin Lynch is the biggest miracle in our freaking career. So the Great Salt Lake. So I'm documenting the Great Salt Lake. Now, don't confuse the drought with the heat dome. Now, here in Utah right now, we've had this, we have 2 feet of snow on the ground right here, all over not on the Wasatch, on the foothills and the valleys. The valleys, we get huge snow here. And not this year. This year we've had no snow. It's so because it's the heat dome, which I named it the heat dome in 2011. This is going to cause a heat dome over the Western United States. I'm the guy that named it. The Great Western North America Heat Dome. Just like I said, it's going to wipe out the tide pools. Just like I said, the salmon Chinook will collapse in 2016. Now, by the way, this is very sad fucking news. I don't care if we get 112 views. It's into the domain. I mean, the new Semmelweis. So, you know, Tim Martin, who does so much great work, the salmon, the guy is the most famous salmon guy in, where is that? Tim Martin salmon photograph. That big beauty. I think it's the world's record. Yeah, what the hell is that? But anyway, we have another friend who's a Fukushima denier we talked to up there, and he's, you know, fishing, and, you know, he laughs at it. He calls him Fukushima Tim, whatever. He's my age, exact. Great guy. Well, a month ago, out of nowhere, he got diagnosed with esophagus cancer. And he was on the table yesterday doing a procedure on the cancer going in. And I don't know what happened, but he died on the table. It's heartbreaking. You know, longevity started ahead in 2012. So the Great Salt Lake, I've heavily documented it. It was a perfect levels of one. Now, even the New York Times is going to save it. Federal legislators, state legislators, I mean, they show up late and start throwing money at it. So the money's just getting ripped off. You know, that's all it ever does. That's the CIA job. Isn't this owner the worst? This guy, the Miller family gets through the Legacy Trust. So Legacy Trust legislate from the grave. So the jazz can stay in Utah forever and be owned by the Miller family forever. And then she marries the attorney, immediately sells it. And they trade Donovan Mitchell, who's got the best record in the NBA. So you think back to basketball metaphors, you go back to Donovan Mitchell. So I'm talking to Donovan Mitchell in the airport. We're visiting. And I says, hey, so you know, I'm going to give you a heads up. And he says, what's that? I says, there's a lot of racist fans here anymore. The Utah Jazz fans, we were saying this was a basketball state, the best fans in the world at the old Salt Palace. I had season tickets. I was sitting, well, it's right here. That's the ticket. I'm sitting on the fucking 12th row, $66 baseball. When Jordan hit the shot, that's the ticket. I had season tickets. I was at all those games. I says, the fans used to be beautiful, sophisticated, respectful. They were just great basketball fans. That was the state of Utah. Basketball metaphors matter. I says, they're the worst. And if you don't believe me, there's a lot of racism goes on in that arena. You go ask Chris Paul's brother, but I says, did you see the 2017? This is 2017. Did you see the Jazz, I think, with the 7th seed or the 8th seed? And, of course, Kevin Durant and Golden State was the 1 seed. And, I think, yeah, they were 1. And that was that great year. And they're getting swept. The Jazz are down 3-0. Here are the two inherited wealth gazillionaires sitting on the front who their parents refused to loan Larry Miller the money to buy the Jazz. They had to, Larry Miller loan shark that money. Made it work. Larry Miller was a great owner. And they're chirping at Kevin Durant, talking shit. And I said, you remember that? And then Kevin Durant scored the last 15 points of the game and sent him packing, swept him 4-0. I do remember that. You know, Donovan Mitchell said to me, he looked right at me, and he says, don't feed the line. I'm like, yeah. You know, so I think about it. Somebody said, well, Donovan Mitchell's no John Stockton or Karl Malone. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? They never won a ring, did they? The Hall of Fame. Oh, fuck. Are you kidding? Phil Johnson, if he'd have been coaching that team, they'd have 3 or 4 rings. You were state guy. You sure about that? Who's the best player in the NBA right now? Donovan Mitchell. You seen their record? What are they, 29-4? So we can do math. What's the greatest record in the history of the NBA? 72-10? No, 73-9. Golden State Warriors, 2017, right? But they lost Game 7 in the finals. But the Bulls team of 96-17. We can do math. 29-4. So, you know, they end up 58-8. Ooh, they're going to be close on the great. You know, and here's Dylan Jones, who's playing for OKC. They've only lost 5 games. And he don't get a play. I mean, very little out. Well, he's a rookie, and don't fix what ain't broken. I mean, they're blowing people out. So Donovan Mitchell's not John Stockton or Carmelo. Are you sure about that? You sure they trade him? You know why they really traded him. And I know Stuart Adams personally. He's related to my kids. You know, I know him really personally. I have since I was a young guy. And, you know, remember I owned Black's Class. Who did all that work for everybody and anybody all over. I know all these politicians personally. Play back the tape here, I talk to them all the time. Because he got political. And these guys are into, I mean, they're all over the cancel culture. And they've done it. If you don't believe in that cancel culture, I'm part of the group that got that diversity group at Weber State University, you know, and them young women. You know, they got rid of it. Tore it to shreds. I mean, basketball, what a force matter. The Great Salt Lake, it's right there. I mean, I've documented it heavily. The Great Salt Lake was at perfect levels in 2012. So don't let them tell you it's been declined forever, ever. You know, declined from 1983. Fuck, the Great Salt Lake was literally right here where my house was in 83, 84. It was over the freeways when the great floods. But it was a perfect level. It's when Fukushima happened, and I says, this is going to cause a heat dome over the rest. How about me predicting the fires? It's going to get into the pine trees. This Lake Barrett to Leslie Stahl on day 2816. Well, these are real full coal meltdowns? Yeah. Where that? They're in the Pacific Ocean. Well, this is like going to the moon to fix that. Leslie Stahl, Lake Barrett on day 2816. Lake Barrett to Leslie Stahl, way bigger than that. This has never happened before. This has never happened before. This has never happened before. At least 3, 4. Never happened in Chernobyl, never happened in Mayak, never since I knew it. So if it's never happened before, the byproduct is obviously never happened before. So it's new, right? By definition, by absolute, for every action, there's a reaction. Sir Isaac Newton, Kevin Blanche. I was a triple major at Weber State. I was a BIS guy. Science, fine art, biology. I've used it all. I mean, what a what a beautiful education I got there. They suck now. They're a joke. They're a clown circus up there, like the basketball team. So, I mean, not the team, the culture. Same with the football team. It's from Rashid Jaheed to this. And it's not about players. They have great players. That's Dylan Jones, Jerry Carding. By the way, he had 24 yesterday. He's going crazy. He's the best player I ever saw. We were him and Dylan. And Damian Lillard, Dylan Jones, Jerry Carding. I mean, you talk 3 of the greatest players in the last 20 years in the world. None of them played in the NCAA tournament. They played it all at Weber State. So, basketball metaphors matter. Don't feed the land. The Jazz are the worst team. The Jazz fans are pathetic and sickening. And the prices, so that beer police. Me and Rachel Johansson, she was a language teacher from Denmark that I was dating 20 years ago. Anyway, she's like, you want to go to the Jazz game, Kevin? I want to go, just to say I've been there because, she's born and raised in Denmark. She's here just a short period of time. And no, I won't go. I got rid of my season tickets in 2000, 2001. I can't stand the whole fucking product. It makes you sick. She's like, no, come on, I'll pay. I've got tickets, really good ones. I said, you buying beer? You know how much a beer costs there? I mean, beers are $14, $15. I remember the first protest I ever won. We were 19 years old when the Jazz came here, and we used to take buses from Ogden. We used to have a Jazz bus. And the bar that used to be on 13th and Wall, we used to hang out there, and it used to leave from there. We put a keg on the bus. We were 19 years old, but the pseudo de facto drinking age was 19 because Idaho, Wyoming were 19. No one gave a fuck. And we go to the games. It's the first year they were here. We had season tickets. I had a seat, really great seats. $240 for the year. We'd go drink beer like crazy. The first protest is Battistone owned them, and they raised beer prices on a 16-ounce, and we were Coors kids then. We liked Coors, That's back when Coors was real beer. It isn't now. Domestic beer is not beer. It's a placebo. Anyway, they raised the 16-ounce beer from $1 to $1.50. So we protested. Now, this is Denver. They were playing Denver. That we organized it because we wore our Coors shirts because we knew we'd get publicity in Denver. Rocky Mountain High, this ain't fucking Colorado. And so we held signs in front of the old Salt House was like the the greatest arena ever. The acoustics, the concerts. I saw every concert you could ever dream of there. Oh, that place was so grand. And we held our signs up, protesting the beer prices. Drop the beer prices back down, And so we protest. Of course, just like we said, we got all kinds of publicity in Denver. you know, because it's course country and they were playing Denver. And like, and we did it and made sure we did it in front of the Denver buses, whatever. Battistone not only lowered the prices back to $1. You know, me and all my friends would sit right there. I mean, the first Jazz playoff game, we're sitting right there. You know, I've been to all of them. I mean, we just love that product. And, you know, we drank too much in those days. He sent us over beers for free for years until, you know, even after Larry Miller bought it, you know, the price were, but then it went, and they went to that big dumb drum over there, which place sucks. The product sucks. You know, even Michael Jordan made a statement yesterday saying the way they promote the athlete anyway. We used to be promote the athlete. Now they promote the brand. And I've told this to Jerry Cardi. I told this to Jerry. Me and him had these don't do what Jeremy Sieglin, Joe Ballenboy, the great Ruben Nemhart did. Take that Jazz contract, or I mean that NBA contract in the supplemental draft, and they're just going to play you. You're going to waste a year or two of your life. I said, you get that European contract offer, you take it. And he did. You know, Kobe Edwards, he's the best player in all of Europe. Fuck, he was the best player in fucking Weber State. Fuck, he goes crazy. At 24, he plays. He's in the Pyrenees Mountains on the country, the secret you don't know about. That's even richer than Switzerland. Do you think he's having a high quality life? Here's Dylan Jones and Jarek Carr, the two best players that ever played at Weber State. You know, Damian Lillard, and Dylan doesn't get a play. Jarek has been offered NBA contract. I know this for a fact. Remember his summer league against? I was in the Tide Pools. You know, coming up out of OB at the Tide Pools when I saw him on the TV on one of the open. We got to go in there and watch him. That's right as he was falling down, making that half court shot at the halftime for the Dallas Mavericks. He was the best summer player in the entire league that year, just like Dylan was this year. But Dylan's not playing. Jarek is playing. Jarek will tell everybody. I got to get me a white headband. He wears the headband because I used to call him Tiny Nate Archibald because he's a lefty like Archibald, and he plays in. He's the best player I ever saw. And he wears the headband now. I got to get me a white headband. Remember, I used to wear the blue headband because the chemo burned through the top of my head. That's why I used to wear that blue headband. And I had so much chemo that my hat size actually grew that much because I got shot with Neupogen in my stomach every fucking day. Every day. I got an injection in my stomach. That went on forever. I have AML de novo with a marker of 44. That's unsurvivable. What I went through, the chemo, yeah, it worked, but it took out my heart valve. I've had open heart surgery twice, including last year. I have a pacemaker. Had to reconstruct it. Mike Lee kicks me off Medicaid. They had to harvest an artery out of my leg. I lost all my teeth. I'm having issues with my esophagus from the chemo. I lost my gallbladder eruption because Mike Lee kicked me off Medicaid. After I forked over $1 million of Tesla stock in 2011, playback and Apple. Remember all that Apple? So it's been a hell of a journey, but the Great Salt Lake, that's what I'll tag this. I declared the drought over 3 years, which it is. The Great Salt Lake, which can lower, 2, 3, 4 feet in the summer, it usually lowers at least 2 feet every summer. It lowered 3.5 feet this summer. Why? Because it's that fucking hot. The heat dome is ongoing. The drought isn't. We've had plenty of water the last 3 years. Plenty of water the last 3 years, including this year, but it's all rain. Because the heat dome and it's unarguable, which I predicted, I named it. This is going to cause a heat dome. This fucking radiation is going to get into the trees. I named it Fuktonium Fires, Fuktonium Fire, Country Deniers, I predicted all that. Play back the tape. I remember talking to a fire ranger in NoCal, and he says, no, we thought it was arsonists starting all over, which I predicted. I said, this is a plasma gas. It's going to fucking start this. You're going to see a heat dome. You're going to see a fire event like you never. I predicted all that. I predicted the tide pool fucking wipeout. Oh, just waste disease. I predicted the well starvation of fucking bad. Well, we documented it as it happened. I predicted all this, and I did the work, boots on the ground. Why I'm in critical condition, the greatest PhD in human history. First you hypothesize knowledge, then you do the field work, then you defend your fucking work. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. I was right. Fuktonium skies. The Great Salt Lake is right here behind my house. Literally. I grew up on it. I grew up on the typos, literally. I've documented this so perfectly and so beautifully and so organically and so rough cut. I mean, that's the way it's got to be. You can't crop in, and I've done it. The Spiral Jetty videos that I've done, oh my God. I look back on it. They're so historic and so important because these liars will tell, Ben the No. 2012. This is an acute, we know that to be an outlier. Dr. Winterton, my great marine biology professor at Weber State when I was just a kid, I was one of those young ones. God, I was haywire. I drank too much beer, but oh my God, it was fun in Ogden. And say, I mean, what beautiful places. I grew up in the 70s. I think about the people of the 1970s in Ogden. Fuck was the most beautiful place in the world. People were the best here in Ogden, Utah in the 1970s. Same with San Diego. How good looking were they? You just look back at pictures of everybody in fucking, well, the whole United States today. How good looking. How beautiful. Because we didn't let these fucking nuclear energy crime cult fucking overrun us. Here we go. As we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Gaga. So, the collapse, I called it all. It's not opinion anymore. The well starvation event, everybody's good. They know it started with 2012, and they'll tell you, oh, global warming. Global warming has been going on since the 1930s like this. Ask Claire Patterson and his lead and gas. We know it spiked in 2011, 20. So we have 13 years of data. We have the salmon data on the fucking Chinook didn't collapse, as Kevin Blanche said. They won't collapse for 2016. Everything I said it's unarguable. Gilded in gold, casted in concrete. The greatest PhD in human history, Kevin Blanche. The Great Salt Lake declined well over 3 feet this summer. Why? Because it's been that hot. It's been 10, 15 degrees above normal degrees since May. And politicians are going to save it. They ain't going to save shit. The only thing that can save the Great Salt Lake is Mother Nature. It's the ecology, stupid. I see that fucking pink and stink. I mean, who destroyed the Democratic Party? Remember the Democratic Party? They were anti-nuclear. They were anti-war. They were fucking pro-environment. They're pro-working class. Now they're fucking war pigs, fucking the Middle East of Eden, fucking empowers. And he come out yesterday, Carville, that's who ruined it. James Carville, fuck, that creep. His pink, it stinks. It's the economy, stupid. And he repeated that. That isn't why Biden fucking... The economy's raging. You're not paying attention. The economy is raging. It's the ecology, stupid. He's the one. He needs to crawl under a rock and stay there. When Genocide Joe is perfect fucking name, all the protesters on all the campuses, including Weber State, beautiful, what they did to them. We got rid of our diversity center there. What these legislators, what these fucking people did to them. Because they're being fucking, they become puppets of the imperialists. Pop, pop, whoppy, drop, they never stop. We used to fight back. Now it's the Middle East of Eden. What's going on over there? And how do you call yourself some kind of Christian? Not the fucking... I grew up in the predominant religion here. They're the opposite. In this predominant religion, they believe that these masqueraded hairspray will be false prophets, and they're really Satan. I believe we live in those times. I really do. How can you fucking stand back and support what's going on in the Middle East of Eden? And Ukraine, for that matter, and it's us, our taxpayer. But the Great Salt Lake, I'm going to stay on this. I'll probably go out to the jetty tomorrow. And I'll get this done. I live right here. I've grown up on it. The Great Salt Lake, the drought ended 3 years ago. We've had plenty of water the last 3 years. The heat dome over the western United States, I'm the guy that named it. I predicted all this. Goes on. So keep in the fight, man. You know, I know the greatest broken record in human history. What's the greatest event in human history? I don't give a fuck. If you haven't noticed, strength and endurance. I remember when I went into the bone marrow transplant unit. Celeste at East 8, bone marrow transplant. Says, Kevin, I've been here 26 years. I never seen anybody ranked a red 10 walk out. You're the only one in the history that I've been here. I remember the guy that prepped me. Got me in the shower. They're prepping me to put my central line in here. They put a stent in your lumbar, in your brain stem. Put the central line in the operation. He's getting me ready. And he says, you're big and strong through the upper body. I says, yeah, I had the hawk and trowel in my hand all those years. I'm a beast. I got endurance like no other. He says, I've been here for years and years. Let me tell you, you're going to need every bit of it. I remember my 7th grade Walquist Junior High. I was the artist there. I designed the yearbook, the covers, blah, blah, blah. My 7th grade science student, Mrs. Kohler, who we had a mock trial, Oppenheimer versus Einstein, and I represented Einstein, whatever. She says, Kevin, that beautiful mind of yours, and she really got going. We had this contest, the whole school, you had to hold your arms out the longest. And you know, the last 5 students in the entire school, and I was only in 7th grade, we're going against 8th and 8th graders, and still out. Me and my twin sister were 2 of the 5. By the way, she's so beautiful, was in there. You should seen her arm wrestle. She was the best arm wrestler I ever seen. Skinny, beautiful, freaking. I used to call her Stevie. Looked just like Stevie Nicks. But anyway, this is in high school. She would beat, and we went to a high school with 2,000 people, and she would just beat everybody. I mean, I couldn't beat her, and nobody could. So they're down to 5 of us, including her and I. And then it came down. She dropped out, and it was me and one other young woman, and she's like, "Well, the period's over. We got to get back to school. Let's just call it a tie." And I says, "Okay." And the other girl's like, "No, no, no." And the crowd says, "No, keep going." So we kept going. I won. I have endurance. That's what I have. That's my greatest asset. I have incredible endurance. That's how I survive cancer. And I fight for her, the mighty blue lady. You ignore me, and the media ignores me. I'm 7th generation Utah, including Abraham Hunsaker the fourth himself is my grandfather. The great Mormon socialist. Without Abe the first, there is no. The new Golden Spike, he's the 3rd one down. It's going to be in Brigham City. My path, I come from infamous lines in Utah. I go clear back to the fork traders on the Potter side. Potter's my great-great-grandpa. And so I'm that Utah. I'm so Utah that my social media addresses come up for years at the LDSC say bone marrow transplant. That's how Utah I am. Mike Lee tells him myself, oh, my dad's a downwinder, yet he goes along with this fucking dog and pony show. It's disgusting what Utah's done to their own. The way I've documented freaking the Great Salt Lake, what historic, beautiful work. I'm so proud of that work. And the Tide Pool, I'm so proud of it. And because it's going to stand the test of time for our history, it is what it is. The heat dome goes on. The drought is over. But the heat dome, the FUKUSHIMA, the greatest PhD in human history. And I got nominated for the Alternative Nobel Prize, by the way, by Freedom Eisenblau herself, head of the Green Party. What a fucking gem. She requested the meeting with me on the 200th anniversary water in her apartment in Vienna, Austria. She grilled me for 4 hours. Kevin, you are the tip of the spear. She had cancer, didn't tell anybody. She was passing the torch to me. I'm the guy that announced the word, what a fuck. Greatest that was the greatest anti-nuclear activist in the history besides Albert Einstein. Freedom Eisenblau. I'm passing the torch to you, Kevin Blanche. Don't you dare drop this spear, she said. Don't you dare. I promised her I wouldn't. I promised in that bone marrow transplant center going in and out of a coma, no pig in my eyes. My eyes went the color of fucking the Great Salt Lake in the springtime. Such a beautiful, incredible fucking place, been ruined. The tundra swans, the ducks, the geese, all the beautiful songbirds, the smell. Oh my God. Whoa, all gone. It's heartbreaking. I've had to watch this. Fight goes on. With or without you. Hey, you! Out there on the road, always doing what you're told, KSL, Deseret News, KUTV. You don't even show up to the Enola Gate ceremony? What does this say about you? Hey, you out there on the road, always doing what you're told. Can you help me? Stay tuned. The fight goes on, man. We'll get on. I'm going to get on this Great Salt Lake and get some more work. What the hell was... Oh, I knocked over my seashells. And by the way, send me your stickers. We'll get this thing loaded up. It's perfect because Kevin Blanche, it has been a view to a kill. And, since 2011. Make love, not war, man. Remember when that's what we did? Not anymore, man. Me and Robin Hood. We fought. I mean, look at the dates on those at Sin Onofre. Look at the dates. 426. Oh, Chernobyl. How about 311, the 5th anniversary, all that work. I mean, so historic. Mothers for Peace, all that work I did with them. Diablo. How about the USS Reagan? All my work there, but ignore my work. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm old school. Blanche, that anti-nuclearism of yours, that environmentalism of yours, it's old school. It's old-fashioned. Yeah, so's fucking cancer. So's leukemia. Oh, it's old-fashioned. Okay. Send me your stickers. We'll get this thing because it's perfect. And that's real, by the way. View to a kill. Oh, boy. It's very sad. Stay tuned.